Hey everyone, this is smpratte, and this is going to be the most historic video on this channel so far. We are going to look at simply the Magic card. There's no amount of hype that can capture the magnitude for what we're about to experience. We're going to take a look at the most valuable signed Christopher Rush card in existence. No, it's not that one. It's the one you saw all over Reddit on Rudy's channel, all the hype, all the drama, all the value, all the history. Here it is, none other than the PSA 10 Alpha Black Lotus, signed by the late artist Christopher Rush. This card is simply the Magic card. It's at the top of the mountain. It's maxed out in every category, every aspect. It is an absolute monolith, not only for Magic the Gathering, but for trading cards at large. So what I'm going to do is give you a nice 10-minute comprehensive breakdown for why this card is so valuable, why it's so iconic. For those who watch my BGS 9.5 Alpha video, this will be a bit of a recap. But the Alpha Black Lotus is the most iconic card in Magic for a number of reasons. Number one, it's extremely rare. Number two, it is the most powerful card in the game. This card is OPAF. You can see right there, add 3 mana in 1 turn is outrageous. So from the jump in 1993, this card has done nothing but move upwards and onwards. Now the Alpha set in particular only had 1,100 rare cards released. That includes the Time Walk in the back, the Howling Mine, any Alpha Rare that is its confirmed print number. Now, an Alpha card is different from pretty much every other Magic card for one main reason. The corners, you can see right there, this has the nice, chubby, robust corners where these have that more slim fit. They are cut like, I would say, Pokemon cards. If you look at a Pokemon card, it's pretty similar to the cut. WotC's a little more rounded, but definitely the modern era. The modern era is going to be more close to, here we go, right here. You can see the corners are pretty much identical, very similar parameters. So that is the main difference for Alpha cards. There are, of course, a beta version which has these type of corner cuts, and then the Unlimited that has the white border. So this is not only the rarest variant of that card, it also has the highest grade, and bonus round is signed by the late artist Christopher Rush. You can see his name down there at the bottom. He designed the artwork for this card. This is similar for the Pokemon guys to Mitsuhiro Rita or Ken Sugimori. Very similar value for history and how iconic they were for Magic. Here's actually an example of the only Pokemon card designed by Christopher Rush. You can see his name down there in the corner. This one's also signed by him. Bonus points, Mewtwo is one of my favorite Pokemon. So this is just simply it right here for Magic. Everything is maxed out. Rarity, history, highest grade, and has the signature from the artist. Now, this card in particular has a lot to cover. So this is one of 2 PSA 10 examples signed by Christopher Rush. So this is going to be difficult to explain for people who don't dabble in autographs because you're dealing with another aspect when it comes to signatures. So let's say you pulled this card. Let's go a best case scenario hypothetical. Let's say you go right now and buy that $50,000 Alpha starter deck. You pull the best card from there. Step aside Time Walk, step aside Howling Mine, you pull that Black Lotus. It's probably not going to be PSA 10 condition. So that's number one. You already have the exception of pulling the Lotus. And then number two, you need another exception of it being the best possible condition. However, the last element of getting it signed by Christopher Rush is now impossible because he passed away, unfortunately, a few years ago. So therefore, this is one of 2 PSA 10 copies. And unless there's another one out there signed by him that has yet to be graded, no other copies can exist from here on out. Now, more importantly, this is the most documented copy. This serial number right here, it's the one you saw in Rudy's video. It's the one you saw in all those fake eBay sales. It's missing that terrible white Photoshop corner. You can see 100% transparent here. This is the real deal. So this is it. This is the most documented card. It has sold multiple times now over the past 5 to 6 years. In fact, I remember when I was in Washington 2014 for the Pokemon World Championship Tournament. This year it was held in DC as well. And the record price back then is just an absolute shadow to what it is today. So this is not only a one of 2 example, it's more importantly the most documented copy, which is important for future value and future sales. You know, that provenance is very important to have that public documentation to know and verify the authenticity because, as mentioned earlier, this card is constantly a victim of fake sales all the time. So let me give you the background on the recent deal that occurred. Recently, Adam Kai, the Magic Guy, helped middle this card between two high-end collectors, and it was a trade valuation between $700,000 to $900,000. That is the current estimated valuation for an item like this. So what was included in that deal were a bunch of that guy in the background, a bunch of those skeletons. There was a lot of Power 9, Beta, a bit of Alpha Power 9, high graded, all traded for this card. Now, to talk about, it's really hard to capture items like this, because when you're talking let's just pick up some cards we have lying around here. Something like this Mew EX card has a more finite price. Something like this, Shiny Steelix has a cut and dry value. Even this Arabian Nights, I'm out of my depth here. The Arabian Nights card as well is more cut and dry. Even these cards in the background are more finite in their market value. Something like this is going to be naturally historic because every time it sells, it breaks a new record. So going back to 2014, I think that record price was around the 50,000 give or take ballpark. Today that would be an absolute steal, but at the time that was a new price, and that's how it continues moving forward. This is nothing new for something of this caliber. That is the typical trend that you experience. So this new record valuation is somewhere between $700,000 and $900,000. Now, in my opinion, I'm going to add some more history here, some more background knowledge. Recently, there was the Black Lotus original artwork that surfaced. So for those who aren't aware, each one of these cards has an original art, at least for the vintage stuff. I think now it's all digital. So the original Black Lotus art was commissioned, or I guess Heritage helped them behind the scenes, to fish for some offers because it's such a high-end item. Of course, any auction house is going to make concessions for that. And I think it started around $500,000, and then it quickly went to $750,000. Then it pierced $1 million, then 1.5, then 2.5. And now I think the owner wants somewhere between $5 to $6 million for that item. So in that process of just looking for offers on that one-of-one original art of this card, it went from $500,000 to, quadruple that. It went way above and beyond that price. So point being, I think this card is probably going to have a similar identity, a similar trajectory. It wouldn't surprise me whatsoever if you see this auction at some point for $1 million. It's just an item where the price is completely irrelevant. Because, again, it is not replicable. You cannot pull this card in this grade, get it signed. It's simply and literally impossible to do. So that is my opinion on the card. Of course, you can always disagree. It's just something that I am privileged to even hold this in my hand right now. It's just once in a lifetime. Everything it does is once in a lifetime. I mean, there's just nothing else you can say. So with that said, I'm going to do just a close-up view of everything for the last couple minutes. I know that's what everybody wants to see. The beauty of this card, I mean, it's just, again, I'm trying to keep it steady here, try not to shake too much on camera. This is the old PSA case, which is interesting. I actually have one of my illustrators is in the old PSA case as well, the original. That's probably something to add here as well. When we're talking about how this is the most documented copy, that provenance is important. With the illustrator I own, it's the official Bulbapedia stock image. It was the most documented, publicly documented copy. This is the same for this card as well. There's a bit of fog on this case. Like I said, it's the older version. It's the slim fit original PSA design before they started doing the nice back here where you have all of this going on, all the technology, but it is, lacking that back cert, which is probably why you see so many fake images of this online. But nonetheless, there it is in all its beauty. Getting something like this reholdered is probably not worth it. It would have to be one of those fly-in, it's just so valuable that maybe when it gets auctioned, that would be the time to do it. But there it is. Let me give you one more overview of this beauty, show you the close-up there of the signature. And also, here's a great example of how signatures can vary in size. Look at the difference here between the two. Signatures are not always cut and dry like the card itself. They do have a level of variance to them. And you can see that here with Rush. They evolve over time. I'm sure my signature from high school till today looks completely different. So here's just a little side-by-side of that. But again, let me give you one more close-up view before we turn off the camera. Absolute beauty. Just privileged to be holding this in my hand. You can't say enough about this card, so let me just let it speak for itself. So there it is, guys. There is the Magic card, the PSA 10 Alpha Black Lotus, signed by Christopher Rush. As usual, hopefully this was useful, entertaining, informative. Can't say enough about it, but let me know your thoughts, guys. Hopefully you appreciate this, and again, just glad that I could bring this to you because it's by far the most historic piece that I've held to this point. So there it is. Let me know your thoughts, guys. That's pretty much it. Till next time.